Romantic relationships can be some of the most rewarding and most challenging parts of our lives. We may think our approach to love as entirely personal, shaped by unique experiences and choices. Yet decades of psychological research suggest that there are recurring patterns in the ways people form and maintain close relationships, and these patterns can be traced back to what is known as attachment style. Attachment theory first developed in the context of child-caregiver bonds, and has since been extended to adult romantic relationships. At its core, it proposes that our early experiences of care and connection shape our experiences about ourselves and others, something that psychologists call internal working models. These models influence how we seek closeness, respond to conflict, and interpret a partner's behaviour, often outside of our conscious awareness. While attachment style is not destiny, it can be a powerful force in shaping our emotional and relational lives. In popular discussions, people often describe as having one of several attachment types: secure, anxious, or avoidant. While this is a useful shorthand, it can give the impression of fixed categories, when in reality, attachment is better understood as two continuous dimensions. The first dimension is attachment anxiety. This is the extent to which a person worries about a partner's availability and responsiveness. People high on this dimension may fear rejection or abandonment and often seek a high degree of closeness and reassurance. The other dimension is avoidance, the extent to which a person is uncomfortable with closeness and dependence on others. People high on this dimension often prefer emotional distance and may value self-reliance over intimacy. Someone may be high in anxiety, but low in avoidance, or high in both, or low in both. The position of the sliders gives a more nuanced picture than simply assigning a type. Those low in both anxiety and avoidance are typically considered securely attached, comfortable with intimacy, able to rely on others without fear, and able to offer support without feeling overwhelmed. While every relationship is unique, research has shown some consistent tendencies. Individuals high in anxiety tend to seek closeness and reassurance. They may become hypervigilant to signs of rejection or changes in their partner's behaviour, and they often interpret ambiguous cues as threats to the relationship. Their strong desire for intimacy can sometimes lead them to overinvest in relationships or experience heightened distress during separation or conflicts. Individuals high in avoidance often prefer to maintain a degree of emotional distance, particularly when relationships become more intimate. They may downplay the importance of close relationships, be uncomfortable with dependency, either theirs or their partner's, and withdraw when feeling pressured for closeness. Individuals low in both anxiety and avoidance are generally comfortable balancing closeness with independence. They're more likely to communicate their needs openly and respond supportively to a partner's needs, creating a stable emotional climate in the relationship. These patterns are not immutable. People may shift along the dimensions over time, especially in response to consistent, supportive relationships or significant life events. One of the more intriguing questions in attachment research is how these patterns influence partner selection. Holmes and Johnson, for example, identified 3 hypotheses that can explain why we might be drawn to certain attachment styles. The first is known as the similarity hypothesis. This suggests that we're attracted to those whose attachment resembles our own. A person high in avoidance, for example, might find it easier to connect with someone who also values independence. The next one is the complementary hypothesis. We're drawn to those whose attachment style contrasts with our own in ways that seem to balance the relationship. For instance, an anxious individual may be drawn to an avoidant partner, interpreting their independence as confidence or strength. Finally, there is the attachment security hypothesis. This suggests that we're drawn to those who are secure in attachments, even if our own attachment style is not. Secure individuals offer stability, responsiveness, and a model of healthy interdependence, which can feel particularly appealing. The evidence suggests that all 3 patterns occur, but perhaps not in the same way at all stages of a relationship. When people are considering a potential partner, similarity and security seem to weigh most heavily. Once in a relationship, however, complementary dynamics come into play, especially for those who are not secure. This is where our working model of the self becomes influential, the beliefs we hold about our own worthiness of love and care. Anxiously attached individuals may, paradoxically, remain in relationships with avoidant partners because this reinforces their belief that they are unworthy of consistent affection and confirms their expectations that others will be emotionally distant. Avoidantly attached individuals may stay with anxious partners because it aligns with their view that others are overly needy and dependent. These dynamics can create self-reinforcing cycles. The anxious partner pursues, the avoidant partner distances, and both find their expectations confirmed. Understanding this interplay can be the first step towards breaking unhelpful patterns and building more secure, fulfilling connections. Understanding attachment styles does not mean reducing a relationship to a psychological formula. Rather, it is like recognizing the map that underlies the terrain. Every couple's dynamic is unique, but awareness of attachment can help explain why certain patterns feel so familiar and why they can be so hard to change. It is also a reminder that your partner's behaviour may not be a simple reflection of their feelings towards you, but of long-standing ways of relating that predate the relationship itself. The same is true for your own responses. A moment of withdrawal might not mean rejection. A request for closeness might not mean neediness in the pejorative sense. It may simply be each person's attachment system expressing itself.